Can be commentary for chapter 56 of my book Metadimensional, which you can find on Kindle or listen to for free as an audiobook, and the links are in the description. Chapter 56 is called Do They Know? Over the last few chapters, I've been mentioning problems that we have in our reality, in nature, in what we call nature, and that could be catastrophic. And the only reason you wouldn't, the only reason you let that happen, like you just like not know about it, is because you're a physicalist, because you believe that, because you don't think that experience is fundamental, that there's nothing producing experience, and therefore anything that experience does has to be explained through not experience does. Everything that you perceive has to be explained first and foremost as an experiential movement and through the dynamics of experience. That includes time. That includes the laws of nature. That includes everything. Now, and if you take that assumption, then you see, we have some problems here with science, with biology, with not biology, with medicine, with using probability theories to reduce the degrees of freedom we leave ourselves, with democracy as a means to just shut us up. Just say that whatever we feel doesn't matter because there's a rational explanation why we should just shut up, because that's the best solution we have. And which is not to say that the problem is in being rude to us. The problem is that it could be destroying our reality. Okay, so all that. And there's a lot of science that we don't do, and there's a lot of science that we do. It doesn't make any sense, like all the explanations for superposition, for quantum field theory, and on and on and on. And the only reason that this eludes everyone is because they're all physicalists. But what is being a physicalist? Being a physicalist is assuming that this thing called experience is produced by something that has no experience, or produced by something that is objective. I think that that's not a really a strong stance. Like, where else have you encountered something that is, let's say, with creating height, like orthogonal dimensions creating each other, orthogonal types of existence, independent types of existence creating each other? You don't see it in nature. You don't see it anywhere. Why would you think that experience is different? You know that experience is different from physical manifestations. You know, it simply doesn't. It's like apples and oranges. There's nothing similar between height, force, and experience. There's just not nothing similar between them. But if you just take the next step and say, okay, if there's nothing similar between them, if they feel independent and independent form types of existence, then they are independent, and one does not create the other. And what does that? And then you just take a few steps forward and say, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean about reality? Now, the things that I've been arguing in this book are not crazy if you assume that experience is fundamental. They're only crazy if you assume that experience isn't fundamental, if you assume physicalism. But again, why would you assume that? Why do we assume that that width create height? That and does it really make sense that I'm the only one that noticed that there's something that doesn't add up here about the assumption that something that is that all independent elements create each other. That again, that width creates height. That or and then I mean, sure, there's like a lot of people that talk about like that obsess about consciousness, but that's not. But this discussion is not this like this whole thing. What this book is dealing with is not about consciousness. Consciousness is like yes, there's the experiential aspects of consciousness, but there's also this who you are at the moment and all that stuff, memories. And we know memories are dependent on the structural integrity of the brain. Like we know that for sure. So, and then we get like this idea that physical processes create consciousness, which is kind of true. But then it doesn't solve the question about experience. Just talks about memories or the impact of the direction of experience into specific experiential movements. But it's not creating the experiential movement, just directing it. You just, like say, the body makes you happy, but it doesn't create happiness. The physical creates sadness, makes you sad, but it doesn't create sadness. Sadness is experiential. Anyway, so we have people investigating consciousness, but they don't investigate the experience. And you have a lot of people investigating consciousness, especially through psychedelics and stuff like that. But they don't ask anything about experience. Just obsess about their role, who they are and what they are, and who gives a shit. It's not the question. The question is what we are, and like what is we like. What is experience? And when you ask that question, you get to all these other things. And it's weird. Like it's like we're doing our best not to look at that question. And this is extremely weird now. We are now living in an age where artificial intelligence is the hottest thing around, right? But we haven't made even a slightest progress in terms of the hard problem of consciousness. Like, what is there something that's like to be a brain? And yet we made progress in artificial intelligence. Now, so a lot of people are dealing with this stuff, but none of them are like noticed this, that experience could be fundamental. And then like they're smart people. Why don't they like take a few steps forward and like which is other conclusions, and then whoa, there's so much else to discover, but they don't. So this is not what you'd expect. This kind of behavior is what you'd expect maybe in the dark ages, but we're not in the dark ages. We're in the height of technology. Like this isn't. Something here doesn't add up. Something here doesn't. It shouldn't happen together. This maybe the theory itself. My theory is maybe I made plenty of mistakes. Fine, but the ideas, no one is saying them. Similar ideas, like the idea that experience is fundamental. No one is saying it, and now the question is why. I mean, are they all? Is there some kind of prophet that prevents people from asking questions that are like new questions? Like everyone is just like corrupt. Is that what I'm supposed to like believe? Or something is really weird. Like, it's not like no one is touching this topic. No one is even thinking about it. And therefore, no one's realizing this possibility. It's like everyone is touching it, everyone is thinking about it, everyone is dealing with it, obsessing with it, and no one gets it. And this isn't normal.